Tom, I see you're on. Can you hear me? I see you're on mute, and maybe you don't know how to unmute yourself. Or he's just waiting patiently.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Jennifer, it is 5:30 and I'm ready.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We are going to call our City of Nisswa City Council Budget Workshop to order, and it is 5:31 p.m. Okay, the first item we have is a budget discussion. Before we get into it, I'm just gonna give a friendly reminder again to all of the fellow council and staff that please wait to speak until I call on you. If you need to get my attention, just raise your hand and I will get to you. But we keep getting feedback from folks watching online. They can't tell who's speaking. If it's not someone called on and they speak, or people aren't speaking close enough into the microphone, so they're not able to hear as well. So if we can be mindful of that, that would be wonderful. And before we again dive into our budget workshop, I don't know if everyone here saw the news this week, but headlines have been going across our entire state, sounding the alarm that according to the Department of Revenue, Minnesotans could face a nearly $1 billion property tax increase in 2026. So that's across the state. It's been on every TV station, newspapers, and everything. Last year here in Nisswa, the prior council passed just under a 10% levy increase. And this year for our preliminary levy, this council set it at 6.07%. I did vote against that because it wasn't against any council member up here or a reflection on my colleagues or criticism of them. It's because I think we can still get a little bit lower. For those of you in attendance tonight, as we're working through the budget, just know that approximately every $25,000 equals 1% to the levy. So that's a good benchmark to use. And I just know this, that property taxes are one of the most regressive taxes we have out there because they do not consider whether you're a retiree living on a fixed income, how much you earn, or what other expenses you're trying to meet. They simply, in general, increase regardless of your life circumstances. I think here in Nisswa, we can do well to deliver to our city this year. You know, inflation for 2026, based on what source you're looking at, is currently indexing around 2 to 8.3%. And I think that it would be great if we could keep our property levy below what the inflation index is for next year. So with that, gentlemen, we have a lot to go through, and I just ask everyone to consider everything and maybe consider sharpening your pencils a little bit tonight in the discussion. Maggie?
I just want to note that Tom Blommer is here via Zoom. He's just out of town at some training this week.
Okay, perfect. Last time we met, we all went through and gave some feedback on things, and that's how we got to the 6.07% preliminary levy. But I thought if we start and just go through tab by tab, and then we come back at the end to the two sheets, the one where I gave feedback and then the one that Maggie had put together with extras where feedback had been given by council. And so if we start on the first tab, it would be the mayor council proposed budget spreadsheet. On this one, I just had 3 quick questions to start, Maggie, and then I'll go around to the rest of council to see if they have anything. What, can you remind, is transportation mileage reimbursement on the mayor council spreadsheet?
Yes, I would say that would be the majority of what that would be used for.
Okay, and then also then school and training, that would be like our attendance fees, lodging if we have it.
Yes.
I'm wondering if it's possible at all, because it looks like our mileage, unless I'm reading this wrong, was low. If instead of, like, if mileage goes down, right, because they're kind of combined with school and training, like if we just say 2,500 total for the 2 line items. I don't know what feedback, Bruce, Mark, Jesse, or Joe, if you have any input.
$2,500 for which 2 line?
So see where it says transportation, 500?
Yep.
And then school training, 2,500? If we just scrap, like if transportation goes to, let's say 250 and school training goes down to 2,250. Because I could be wrong, but are Joe and I the only 2 that did any training so far this year? We both went in February to
both?
Plymouth, and then I went to the annual conference in Duluth.
Yeah, I went down to Plymouth.
Okay, how can then I paid for the registration, but I didn't pay for any reimbursement because he didn't submit anything.
Okay,
You should do that. But otherwise, it's just been
That's good.
you, Jennifer. And so unless somebody wants to, do something, I mean, the elected leaders, the league puts on a couple trainings for elected leaders. If there's anybody thinking that they would like to do something in 26, Board of Appeals, I think we have enough of the council that has taken the training and
Mhm.
certified, but we always encourage all of you to do those every year. And I think mostly the Board of Appeals is an online thing, but they do have an in-person one as well.
Yeah, so my proposal is just if we can find some dollars to cut there, why not? Because currently for this year, we're only at 1,750 under school and training, but we have 2,500 budgeted if everything stayed the same. And I'd even consider too, and I think I had said this, if I'm gonna go to additional trainings, I'll just pay out of my own pocket. Like if I'm gonna go to the mayor's meetups, I'll just pay for those.
What is the mayor's meetups?
They're for mayors. They happen a couple times a year. I wasn't able to make it this year for personal reasons, but if I'm going to go to them in the, like next year, I don't expect to be reimbursed for mileage or anything. I'll just go.
Is that
It's
a,
a
is that
league
a,
event, isn't it?
it's a league
Yeah.
event?
Yep.
So do you all seem good with,
Do you agree, disagree?
I agree.
I want some consensus as we move.
Yeah, we need to.
through. Yes,
I'm good.
Good.
Okay, everyone seems good on that, Maggie.
okay.
Does that cover that
Yep.
section?
Next spreadsheet is elections. I didn't have any changes to that. Any of the council members have any changes to that one?
No.
It is what it is.
Which one?
Elections, 2026 proposed budget spreadsheet.
No.
Okay. Unless I'm out of order, I have admin, clerk, finance next.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one where I had proposed, well, the budget changed a little bit. It originally, when we did this last time, under salaries and wages, had 312,000. I suggested decreasing it to 240. But now as I now that we actually have the position scoped out now, city admin / clerk, finance specialist / treasurer, and deputy clerk, I think that 240 should actually go up to 260. So my recommendation would be to change the proposed budget of 280 down to 260.
Mayor, do you mind? So I put in the new wages based on the new scale from our consultant. So the administrator clerk and finance specialist / treasurer and our deputy clerk. So I have put all of those wages in there. For admin clerk and deputy clerk, I did step 5, which is the middle grade. So depending on where we hire them, I didn't want to underdo it or overdo it, but I figured 5 was a good stepping point, at least in the middle.
What's the dollar amount for that? Because I don't know what step it is, but where I was coming up with the 260 was the admin clerk, again, giving room, putting in 110, and the deputy clerk putting in 60, because I think that position was listed at 50 to 65.
So for administrator clerk, I have going into 26 rates at $57 an hour, and the deputy clerk I have at $28.32. And then one of the things on my list is to, after I'm done with my interim basis, where do I fall? Because this would be a slight promotion for myself. So as we get through this, I want to put in a right dollar amount for that.
I would urge the council to be cautious on trying to claw back the wages and salaries prior to having these positions filled. If we are in a deficit, we're gonna be having to address this likely first quarter of next year,
Yeah, we also don't have the negotiations done.
correct?
Well, those are after, which is
After,
tonight, they're tonight. or our
Right.
labor union close meeting is tonight at the end of the regular council meeting.
I would just leave it as is,
Likewise.
knowing that going into where we are calendar wise though too, that we will probably be spending less because we're not gonna have somebody start January 1, you know?
Mhm.
But we don't know who we're hiring or what, so I would say the 280 would be a good compromise.
I agree.
Okay, just so you know then, majority rules here, you have the dollar rates Maggie gave, it's 120,000 a year for the clerk, admin slash clerk, 58,000 a year for the deputy clerk, and $100,000 a year for the finance specialist treasurer. Just so you're aware of those numbers, if I did that calculation right.
No, so,
'Cause you said 28, 32, 57.
yep. So just on the high end of what this, I'll say, the scale of this new job title position would be, about $87,000. I do include about a 10% overtime just for meetings and council and things like that. Now, the administrator potentially, depending on how that person's contract would be written, that would probably be a salary position like it was last time. But there are night meetings and things like that that we do need to account for.
Okay, well, where are you, you are all in agreement to keep it as is? Okay. Maggie, then I have a question on here. What is the, under dues and subscriptions, it's jumping up $3,800 or 43.68% from 25 to 26, and I don't remember what that was for.
I do not know that off the top of my head. I feel like it's been so long.
There was some software that you were looking at acquiring for meeting minutes.
Yes, there was that, and that was like $1,200 or $1,300
Annual.
annual. Yep. And I know that there are rate increases just with our other dues and subscriptions or like, all I wrote was clerk minutes and it wasn't $3,800. There was something else in it.
For the minutes, yeah, I thought it was like
Yep,
1,200 or something.
1,200,
just-
1,300, which we agreed to do.
And I thought we were gonna not even put that as a line item and just take that out of cash. So it didn't impact us.
Well,
I thought that's what we voted.
that's what I did for this year.
For this year?
Yep.
Okay.
But since it's an ongoing expense, I kept it in our budget.
Maggie, I know we spoke in the past few meetings in regards to outsourcing HR.
Yes,
There is nothing included in here for that, correct?
correct,
Got it.
nothing.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't have anything else on that. Does anyone else? Accounting 2026 proposed budget. I didn't have anything on that one. Does anyone else?
No.
Mm.
City attorney 2026 proposed budget.
Maggie, what are we at year to date offhand?
Yeah, well,
Well, as of the end of August, I'm at $46,730. And then, so that these professional fees include our labor attorney and our city attorney. So August or September. I think our labor attorney is estimating at about $4,000 a month, give or take. So add another 5 to 8,000 on that. And then our city attorney, not all of it gets put in here because some will go to planning and zoning, some go to roads, things like that. If you want an updated dollar amount, I certainly can get that to you, but we are probably well over 50,000 sitting today.
Do you have any idea why we're,
We have a
What
lot
was
of labor attorney fees lately.
what?
Unions.
Well, I haven't, I don't think really been billed for a whole lot of union stuff, but a lot of it has been this interim basis and, I don't get a whole lot of detail on the invoices, but a lot of conversations with the labor attorney in regards to interim city administrator, employee issues. I don't get a whole lot of detail outside of that, but those are mostly the
But these
line items.
line items would be billed based on initiation from somebody at the city of Nisswa.
Yes.
Who would
Our,
that
our
be?
labor attorney fees, what the labor attorney has told me, because their fees have been high or higher this year, is because we basically have been without a city administrator since April. As personnel liaisons, we've had to go to the labor attorney more frequently to jump in as we've navigated an interim administrator, another interim, a staff coming in to do some of the duties and responsibilities on an interim basis. And when you have a city administrator clerk here that is able to efficiently run the organization, those fees should go down. That is verbatim what was told to me by the labor attorney.
So likely we could be sitting at year to date north of 60, 65, 70,000.
If there's continuing calls and questions outside of trying to work with staff on some things, yes.
And there haven't really been a lot of calls or questions to that labor attorney since July of the summer, other than related to the union discussions where Joe and I have had to connect with them and the work they have to do and the presentations for the unions. I think I've talked with the labor attorney like twice or 3 times since July.
I'm
and I can't
happy
speak
to
for Joe.
submit invoices to the council so you can see details of what is being
Yeah, I'd like that.
billed.
Because I'm looking at a proposed budget for 26 of 50,000 is,
This is high.
huh?
It's
Well,
high.
I think, but that's the point. I think this can come down because if we're gonna have a city administrator clerk in here, hopefully ideally by, let's just say worst case, April,
Mhm.
right?
I'd like to
Um,
drop that by 10,000, put it at 40,000.
Right, I think it can go down.
Do you think that's feasible?
I think it is.
23 actuals, 34,400, 24 actual, 40,000. Year to date, 60, 65, 70, and we're gonna go to 40 for next year. That's, seems reasonable to everybody, then let's hold to the budget.
Yeah.
Are you
Every
good with
phone
approve?
call cost.
Yeah, it's, everything goes up, it was 34 back here, now you're looking at 50, I guess. What the going rate's gonna be, have to just adjust it.
I know some of the push in 24 was with the property, so that was an increase there, but this is,
50
where are
maybe.
we at now on attorney fees?
My guess is close over about 55 is my best guess right at this point.
Do some of the current fees have to have anything to do with some of the easements and land stuff, or is that all in planning and zoning and
Like
public works?
For Public Works, anything with road easements would be under Public Works, and then anything under Parks and Trails would be under that project.
Where
So it has
would,
nothing to do with this line item.
what did the spirits conversations fall under this line item?
That would probably go under Spirit's own account.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would say
And
drop it to 40.
I do know that our city attorney's rates are going up as of January 1st. I don't think we've had an increase with them for, I'll say maybe 10 years. So his rates are going up, I believe, $30 an hour. So just be mindful of that as well. I have not heard from the labor attorneys to see if their rates are going up, but I did hear from our city attorney.
Okay. It's 40, let's do our best to stick to it.
Is that a consensus, 40,000?
I'm good with 40.
40. Yep.
Okay, planning and zoning is next. The only 2 questions I had on here were, and this is one of them I brought up at the last meeting, was the P and Z putting the 5,900 in the capital reserve of potentially cutting that for next year. And then I question the school and training going from 3,000 up to 7,000, but Stephen will let you go through it.
Sure. Yeah, so Maggie and I did some capital reserve crunching, looking at things that could be pulled out. For example, the permitting software was in the continuing improvement budget, so conversations with council leading up to this point was to start evaluating that and take it out of the capital reserve that's already there, rather than budgeting it for the future based on the balance in there. So that came down from 7,950 to 5,900. School and training, that was responsive to a couple of needs on the horizon that I see for the city. Building official limited was a desired qualification for city planner, and so indicating that you guys wanted that within staff. So if you want that attained, that was in there. AICP certification was likewise in there. And we have recently acquired ArcGIS admin credentials from our engineers for that. And we have no staff on for ArcGIS experience. I have personally gone through like halfway through a curriculum for certification, so I threw that as a lobby option for school and training in there for that reason. Other than that, I have wetland certification and septic certification for inspector. So sum totaling that out, we initially came out to an estimate, I think, of 10,000 and pulled that down to 7,000. As I achieved a couple of those CE requirements for wetlands and septic this year. So I believe that $7,000 figure also had an adjustment at the last meeting, where we were talking about building official specifically listed there at $3,000 and AICP certification holding on those two items at this time, I believe was the consensus. So might even be more additional trim there if need be.
Yeah, I would cut it
Yeah, I would cut it too.
because like the building certification or whatever, if and when we would need that, we just outsource it like all the other small cities our size. You know, there's an individual that actually lives in this city that does it for Breezy Point, Staples, I don't know, all the other cities around, that he probably has a half a dozen or more cities.
Yep.
And so,
Scott Sadowski?
yeah. your
Yep.
neighbor.
I know a couple
Yeah.
contacts as well who do it. They are few and far between, but that is pretty typical when a municipality has an onset of that requirement, is to shift into an outsourcing type role. I've kind of confirmed that and coordinated information around that with multiple P and Z administrators in the area. Definitely something that's feasible to not have at a staff level, especially at the onsite. It'd be a lot on one person, and in the feedback that I've received, to do both zoning and building official inspections.
Yeah, so that's why it's just, yeah, it's not tangible to do both. That's why they outsource. So to spend the
Certainly.
money on it doesn't make any sense to me.
How do you
So-
feel?
Yeah, so I would cut all that out of it.
So cut 4,500.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement.
Is that still gonna cover like your conference and hotel and things like that, Stephen? I just don't wanna short trade you here.
So current budget's 3,000 for this year. I think, if you cut 4,500 and brought it down to 2,500, business is flowing like crazy. So my availability to go out to some of these trainings are few and far between. So I try to be pretty selective on where I go with these. So
Mark, where do you stand? Okay, and Bruce? Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna bring that one down to 2,500.
and then I had brought up last time about eliminating the capital reserves in the P and Z department because we have I don't have the sheet in front of me, Maggie, if you know how much we have in P and Z and reserves right now.
I can try to access that server here. I don't believe we've had any expenses since last we looked, so it should be hovering right around. I'm gonna ballpark 52,000, I think was the last figure I saw. And I think I have a spreadsheet for it, for what that was being budgeted for up to 2032. The fields for, the columns for 2033 and 2034 and 2035 were blank based on turnover and, I guess not an idea of where you guys wanted to see us in 8, 9, 10 years out in the department. So
58,000.
58, thank you.
Yes, and that was including some comp plan things, downtown master plan, housing study, zoning map.
I think the DMP one was in 24. But yes, the comp plan revision, housing study, future land use map study. All of those kind of in my mind as a planner fall under that comp planning. Like a single line item rather than on their own, but I think it was broken out to kind of clarify if we didn't want to if we wanted to forego a housing study or we wanted to elect to do a housing study, that cost was roughly, I think, 15,000.
Housing study, we have 20,000 and comp plan is about 20, which I think is probably a little under from what comp plans are costing other cities. Now, depending on if it's a whole rewrite or if we're just gonna take bits and pieces of it. So just setting money aside each year, so it doesn't have this one lump sum of, excuse me, of $20,000 that impacts the budget. So you put couple thousand away every year for that.
And so future land use map study would occur in one fiscal year as budgeted in that comp plan or continuing improvement. And then housing study, future land use study, and then eventually those two can supplement the creation of a comp plan, which our current one is slotted and stated at 2030. So those would be on the horizon in the next few years to start executing if we want it to be a part of a comp plan chapter.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts on this is we would just hold on all this until we got that economic development.
Yep.
Authority rolling. I'd say that's where I would like to put the money towards something like that versus diving in more of this.
Yeah, that was what I said the last time. I think we should take a year off. We have 5 figures in reserves and we are looking to go in different directions. We've talked about as a council, maybe revisioning the comp plan too, so. But where do you stand, Councilmember Fraley?
Pass on that, right?
Okay. Councilmember London?
Sure.
You're not sure? Councilmember Zahn,
What are we discussing the Economic Development Authority next?
January?
Hoping for January to schedule a workshop with the full council. I know Mark's got some limited availability as well, but I really think it's important that the whole council hear these presentations. So if we have to maybe wait till February.
Early February.
Yeah, I think a conversation with a couple of the people that we've been talking to would be very worthwhile of council to know what options come with a board of authority of an economic development. Whether or not there's financing mechanisms of their own that they can utilize and what the costs would be if we outsourced somebody to assist with the EDA. All of that would be valuable information for you to hear.
And the grants.
Yep.
Grant funding is another mechanism that EDAs are very helpful with.
Okay, so do we have a decision here? Joe and I are both for pausing this reserve for 2026 and pulling it out of the budget. Mark and Bruce, you said you need to think about it. Jesse, didn't hear where you were
Is
at.
our approach, I should ask, is your approach perhaps to try to stymie the capital reserves for each of the department budgets as?
Not necessarily for all of them, but if you look at some of them, and I put it in my recommendation for parks and the community center too, to bring that down. When we've already collected money from the taxpayers and we have hundreds of thousands sitting aside, in climates like this, I think it is our responsibility, at least this is how I feel. I still think a 6%, 6.07% preliminary levy is high. You guys may feel different. I feel that it's high. I think we can do better for the city, but we can't do better if we're not willing to look at any line items to shift or take a break from. And it doesn't mean we're putting the city in a bad position. We have over 7 figures in reserves combined between all these different departments, right? And it's also trying to be thoughtful about ways to find efficiencies, so we're not, cutting a department off so that we can't drive things forward together as a city. But if we're not willing to look at areas to cut here and there, then all you're gonna do is you're just gonna keep growing people's taxes every year, and that's just not something that I'm in alignment with, but I may be the only one. I'm one vote. You guys are 4, so if you feel otherwise, we can disagree, but 3 or more will go in that direction, and it is what it is. And then those are the folks that, if the residents disagree, when elections come around, then you can answer to those folks, right? Or get the phone calls after. I'm just trying to find areas to sharpen without, so I'm not saying cut the reserves from every department, but I think there are places where if we've got 50 and we don't think we're doing anything with it next year, and we know we're doing this EDA and we might be shifting things in general, that might look different anyway for the 27 budget.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think this entire council is in alignment with you on that. None of us want to be able to have a higher levy than what was set on the preliminary piece. So appreciate the clarification on the intent for the reserves. I have no problem giving my blessing to remove that for planning and zoning.
Anything else for planning and zoning?
No.
Okay, next one is the general government buildings proposed spreadsheet. I didn't have anything on this. I just couldn't remember, Maggie, what the professional services and communication increases were for. I think the other one was for the system, right? The servers, the 54.
Yes, the
Yeah.
54 is for the new technology and security and servers.
Yep.
That needs to happen in 2026, or they are recommending. And then we have an added $10,000 for newsletters next year.
Oh, that's right.
Do we believe that perhaps newsletters could be done on electronic format to remove the $10,000?
Yeah, we talked about at our last council meeting, I think, doing 2 mailed and 2 digital, but we only did 1 this year. We could do them all digital, or maybe just do 1 mailed and maybe,
I would do them all digital.
I would
Okay.
do them all digital.
all right.
And is there any cost associated to that then? I'm assuming.
There will be a design fee, maybe like 500,
Who designed-
600.
Who designed the last one?
Your neighbor, Ron.
Christie.
Christy
Christy.
Ramler. Yep, she has a creative company. She did a good job with the layout. So that template's already built. It's just kind of,
So do we need to have any money in here?
we do, because we'll have to give her all the information to change like the wording and change pictures or things like that. Maybe if we're being conservative, 1,000, but I don't think it would be that much.
Remove or reduce to 1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Good with that.
What was the 12 again, Maggie, or the 20,000?
The professional services.
Yes.
That is just for, like attorney fees, like outside of, any department. So like legal fees,
So like if we get sued or something,
yes, or if, our city attorney is
Well, that's covered by that.
coming to meetings and things like that, like that's his fee. If there's any data requests and things like that, that is
Oh.
what that number is for.
Do we think we need to bring it up that much?
Well, part of this is, I mean, we're sitting at $64,000 right now. I know some of that will come out and go to like city hall improvements and things like that. But if you look at just our spending over the last handful of years,
It was 82 and 24. So,
now part of that was because of the land purchase and all those surveys and things like that.
I would
I guess.
think moving ahead though, knowing the projects we have within the city, we're still gonna use that. All the stuff that we have
Believe
coming
it.
up, I would
Road
leave it.
bonds. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Bruce?
I agree, leave it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, the next one is public restrooms, 2026. I had nothing on that one. Did anyone else?
Mark and Bruce, we just make sure your mics are on. Tom says it was.
Yeah,
credit
it
for
is.
yes,
I just
okay.
checked it.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, will that be enough to cover with the new bathroom that's going in at Lake Park? Or is this is different, isn't it? This is Public Works. All right, I'm fine with that one.
Okay, police proposed budget spreadsheet. I,
I had no questions on this.
I don't have any questions on this one.
No.
Good with it.
Mark, did you have?
No, I'm good with that one. I was just thinking.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, just noting, I know you guys talked about flock cameras and whether we should do them, not do them. It's still in here because I need to have a consensus.
Oh, I'm
So-
still against that. Not that I'm against the police department or doing what they need, but because I think last time it was discussed that Crow Wing County is putting 2 flock cameras in somewhere in the county, doesn't necessarily mean Nisswa. I think my position was if we can wait and let them
I think that was
advance
the
with those flock cameras for a year and see how it is and then see if, it does make sense then for next year for us to add them. I thought it would be good to remove those and wait a year to give Crow Wing County the chance to do their diligence.
I thought that we stacked hands on that last time.
I thought we did, but
Yeah, I thought that's where we stood with that one, because to take those off.
Let's take,
I just want to make sure I have a consensus because I don't always get head nods or anything, and so
Take
I
off
don't want
flocks.
to make
Yeah.
the assumption.
so I'm for removing it.
I remember that we all agreed upon that
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
Okay,
And what was the price tag on that?
15
8,500.
It's 85.
times 2.
No,
Yeah,
I
so
think,
you're the 17,000, wasn't it?
no, it's just 8,500 for the total of 2 flock cameras. I
Okay,
believe.
okay.
Then there was a subscription fee or something.
Like a $2,500 subscription fee every year that was included in that or something.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Okay, fire administration, 2026. I didn't have anything on that one. Did anyone else up here?
Does this include the, what is the fire department's
The relief?
Oh, that's separate.
separate,
Yeah.
the increase? The city's match?
The city doesn't,
The city doesn't
It's a
do
paid-
anything with that.
no,
Vote on to
It-
do the increase, but that has nothing to do with this. That's completely separate.
That's separate.
so this 116, if you look at line 125, there, we get money from the state, and Joe, you might be able to explain this 2% a little bit more.
Yeah, it's 2%, everybody's insurance.
Yeah.
It's the
Yes.
2% monies of everyone insurance. So as the insurance rates go up, the 2% rates go up, but that's all set by your insurance and our rating, our coverage rating. And so everybody knows, whatever, the city of Nisswa has the highest possible rating that we can get without a water tower. So sometimes people ask, what can I do to get better insurance with the coverage and stuff? Nothing until we get a water tower. So it's a formula that's rated and stuff. So that helps. But that's what the increase is. It's the 2% because the insurance is gonna go up.
Yes, and so then we pay a percentage. So the fire department has this budget, which we'll get to as well. But the city of Nisswa and the contracted areas split a percentage based on the values of the properties and buildings. And so our percent of the fire budget that the city of Nisswa needs to pay is 144,000 based on the best guess we can figure out with evaluations. They don't really change much when you compare. I mean, it might be a percentage or two throughout all the 5 contracted areas. So that's my best guess that our portion going up this year would be about 9,000 for Nisswa.
No
Any
comment.
questions?
Yeah.
Nothing?
No.
Okay. Next is the Public Works proposed budget spreadsheet. I had nothing, no questions, no changes on that. Council members on,
Nothing.
Nothing.
anything? Mark, okay. Sanitation Administration, I had nothing there. Anyone else?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Economic Development proposed spreadsheet. These are our donations to other civic organizations. I have no questions on this. Does anyone else?
Are these the donations or would these be the?
This is to like
fees-
Bladek.
Yeah,
Yep, and
membership fees for
Yep.
the economic development.
Yes, and I do believe that Bladek went up a little bit. It used to maybe be 31 or 32, but I did get notification that it was going up for 26. So they are the correct fees from everything I know.
okay.
Looks good.
Cemetery, I have nothing. Anyone else?
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
Debt service is what I show next, but
This is just our TIFs.
yeah, it's,
I put it in there so you guys realize
Yep.
this is kind of our principal and interest payments for the year. But there's nothing, you can't really lower them.
okay, next is unallocated expenditures. The only thing I have here is under downtown events, Maggie, that 3,500, that's what we gave for the fireworks this year, correct? For the 3rd of July?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but who paid for that? It came out of a different account.
So this is something else then?
Well, this is really what that's for, but
We took that out of reserves.
reserves, I think, because it wasn't budgeted for.
Correct. Cause last year was in 23 was the first year that they came to us and asked for money.
Yep.
So a lot of, I'll say the expenditures that we've spent is a little over $1,000 as of the end of August, like for garbages, if we,
Oh, the porta potties, things like that? Okay.
Donations to civic organizations.
that is for the library. So that was an agreement at the Nisswa Elementary. So that was an agreement that
Yeah,
the city
and they're-
made when they built it.
No, that's been in there
And-
for a long time.
It's been 50, it had, since I have been here, so 12 and a half years, it's gone up, I think, $100. Maybe $200.
That's the only item in this specific line item, but the actuals, if you look at for 23, 24 year to date.
I would have to look at what else might be in here.
And
But
if we're
normally that
budgeting
is it.
$5,700 for it and it's gonna be that,
Yes,
fine, but if something's
Yes.
gonna creep up.
no, no, it is $5,700. They bill us once a year.
Yeah.
So I might have just miscoded something, which I will look at.
Okay.
It happens.
What falls under other? Cause that went from 125,000 to 97,800 to,
This is all unallocated, so sometimes I would have to go back and look at those actuals to know what is actually in there. But it's kind of, I'll say, a catch-all, or if the council agrees to do a study that we don't have budgeted for, it kind of comes from this unallocated account or expenses.
Would this have been an account where we would have taken the like 225,000 that the government allocated to municipals during middle of COVID? Do you remember that?
Remember that.
ARPA
ARPA
funds?
funds,
Is that where that debit would have been then?
it may have been
Because if
very well.
you add 125 to 97, that seems like the number's spot on,
It-
especially because it drops off to 212.
Yes.
Which would then make me wonder why we'd need 40.
40. But we haven't, we've only used 212 this year.
Right.
So do we need 40?
What was
It's-
budgeted?
Oh,
We budgeted 40,000 this year.
But we've
for
only used 212.
this, Exit.
I'd say half it.
all of it or half?
Yeah.
Unless there's something justifying what even $1 would be for the other.
No.
Any business, any organization, whenever there's something that says other, it's just that black hole. And
Mhm.
it's always allocated or spent out, and there's nothing that's truly known unless, like right here, $40,000.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there's 40,000 for 25. And 212 has been allocated. That could be considered for a decrease.
I'm happy to cut it.
Oh, I'm happy to cut it. I'm talking
Yeah.
about also taking that piece. Yeah,
How do you guys feel?
unless,
correct.
and Maggie, if you find something that constitutes $40,000,
I was just looking at last year's 25 budget just to see, we actually lowered it to 40,000 from 46,000. I was just seeing if there was some notes in prior years that would, without me digging through. Comp study,
So
that's No, for but the that's-
study, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
I was
cut it.
just looking, and that was 24's
Believe,
budget, yeah.
Just
I
cut it.
believe at that time when that was put in there were ideas on some more studies coming forward, and that was a line item for that was discussed. So I would axe it.
I'm in agreement.
So down to 0.
Bruce,
and
leave it?
Yeah.
Leave it at 40 or? Okay.
Bill, you're
Joe
gonna
says
cut it
bring it
all?
to 0.
I would say cut it.
Jesse says 0. I say 0. Bruce says leave it at 40. Where are you at, Mark? Well, we already have 3, so.
I'll add a
Cut it.
asterisk to my 0. If you find something in the coming weeks that
Okay,
that represents that, then please let us know if possible.
okay.
Otherwise, I'm in favor of putting it to 0.
Yeah.
Okay, sewer. I don't have anything here. Do you, council members on?
No.
Joe? Mark? Bruce?
No.
Okay, interfund transfer out. I mean, that kind of is what it is. I don't have anything there. Does anyone else?
No,
Pickle 2026 proposed budget spreadsheet. I didn't have anything that really jumped out. Did anyone else?
No.
I had a question. Can you
Sure.
zoom in?
Joe?
Do you want revenues or expenses?
Um,
Might be too big, just doesn't fit. There we go.
And my question is not anything specific to this, but I know the liquor committee, I'm not on it, but I know that, they're like new TVs, bar stools, all that stuff. Did all those plans get done and accomplished in this year? And are there any more, I'll say, visions for next year? It's not
I'll let
accounted
Terry-
for that.
Oh, but you need.
Do you want to come up, Terry, to the mic?
So the two things that I've basically left to do is the walk-in cooler. I've got 2 bids coming into that, one from Superior and one from Gentleman and Brainerd. So I have no idea what that's gonna cost, but I've got enough money put away in that
Capital reserve.
capital reserve for all of that.
Okay.
And then the other thing too is bar stools. I've been off with the knee surgery the last 8 weeks, so we're looking at new bar stools, so hopefully they won't be that much. I don't know.
What about outdoor seating?
Outdoor seating's good. We bought the new chairs last summer.
Yep. That was my only question with that, is if there is anything else with that plan that needed. Otherwise, I'm good.
Anything else? Any questions for Terry? Thanks, Terry.
Yep.
Okay, spirits is next for the budget. I did have two things. But I think I might know the answer to one, but Brian will let you state. Under spirits rentals, it's a $30,000 increase from 25 to 26.
So I put that in there because I wasn't really sure what we were gonna be doing with Schaefer's.
Yep.
So that is still a big question mark on how much that will be.
Okay, that's what I
Right-
thought it was,
Yeah,
but I
right now
wanted
we're-
to just
we're-
double check.
Right now, we're paying 100,000.
Bless you. Okay, so because that's on our regular council agenda, maybe we should note this and come back to it because we do need our city attorney for part of that discussion related to that lease. Does that sound fair to everyone?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, Brian, the only other question I had was. Oh, dues and subscriptions went from 6,000 for 25 to 10,000 for 26, so an increase of 66%.
POS.
Part of that is a firewall replacement.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yes. Which is $2,000, so it was half of that, but I think some of that is with your new,
The City Hive. So we have, with our city online, shopping that we have, that costs us so much money each month, and that is put into that.
anyone else have questions for Brian?
Just
Joe.
one question that pops out to me here that thinking about, more and more businesses are passing on the credit card fees to the consumer
Yeah.
at the purchase. That's getting pretty common everywhere you go. So I don't know if that's something, I'm not sure if it's a budget item,
So-
but something that, that we want to talk about, but
You have it right.
I would say, I don't know, 60% of businesses now, I've been noticing, I've been wondering it myself. So I've been taking note everywhere I go. It's pretty common, so something to talk about, to get passed on.
So from the studies that I've looked at, it is for the smaller businesses and more the boutique niche businesses that are out there. If you go to restaurants, seems like it's almost universal with the restaurants. And, when it comes to liquor stores, there are some municipals in the state of Minnesota that are doing that. But, not very many. I can do some more research on that. I wasn't sure if you guys are gonna have a question on that credit card. So I do have that highlighted on mine, and we have, Maggie has filled out a new application for a different credit card processor. We're still pretty much on pause with them because we weren't sure what the city was going to vote on as far as THC. And as of right now, they do not take any credit cards for THC products. But they are working on that.
Process.
So we are looking at,
How would they discern?
there are
Why-
companies
why?
out there,
Why?
I'm not sure why, to tell you the truth, but there are companies out there that will not
Hmm.
let you use a credit card for THC
I would
product.
love to hear what their response is on that.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I would love to hear what their response is on,
Okay,
on that.
yeah, I'm not
Maybe
sure what it is off the
zeros.
top of my head. Terry, do you
It's
have
more
any
business for
information?
them.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But
But Brian, then is this $22,000 increase under credit card fees because of a new processor or what
No,
is?
so I have to put on my budget the worst case scenario. And so that is the worst case scenario if this does not work out with a new company. But I would like to see our credit card processing go down, but I can never guarantee that. So I put on the worst case scenario on our budget.
well,
But-
that's what I'm saying. We can make that zero if we
Yeah.
pass the fees on.
Yeah.
So
Well,
between,
the other-
between there and the pickle, I mean, I don't know what the fees were back at the pickle, but
I'll tell you.
When
Yeah.
you say zero, are you saying going from,
He's saying charge everyone that uses a credit card.
you
Right.
charge them at the,
The pickle is
So-
30,000 proposed.
yeah, so that's
So that
50,000
they-
to the city.
there's two ways of looking at that. I know a lot of customers out there look at and say,
would be
hey, if you're going to
150,
charge me that extra fee,
120,000.
they get very annoyed with it and they'll just shop somewhere else. So what a person can do is just increase the percentage that you are marking your product up and, mark it up another 2.5%, and that covers your credit card fees. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Some people are saying, it's the cost of business out there. My personal opinion is that's my line of thinking, that it is the cost of business. And if we need to make more money, then we need to mark our product up to 2.5% more or 2% more, whatever it comes out to for the credit card fees.
But then overall, you're more expensive across the board too, which can drive people away. There's also too, if people know that, they'll whip out, pay cash at the counter or whatever still. So I know.
I
that
guess,
I'll pay cash, like you're gonna charge me, here you go, here's some cash.
sure, I would love to see
I'm
a,
saying on alcohol, I'm just saying on other stuff, right?
I-
But
No,
I don't, I'm just,
so what,
I'm just looking at it, it's discussion, if it's 50 grand
What-
between.
because right now the person that's paying cash is getting a,
we make 2.5% or 2% more on that product because they're paying with cash.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think about it?
what we did was we looked at a certain amount, and sometimes you can negotiate those fees with the credit card companies, but there's not enough money going through the spirits there on that. We charged off all of our fees onto the customers and had no problems with it. Like Joe said, if they didn't like their 2.5%, 3%, or 1% that they got charged, they'd pay cash. Because some people would look at it, if I go in and I spend $100 and I pay cash, it costs me $100. But then the guy that buys $100 and get his charge, he gets same $100. However, I then have to pay his percentage. And
Mark, could you clarify what business are you talking about that you had?
we used to run those systems,
Okay. Mhm.
and set them up for casinos, hotels, restaurants, bars, helped with banks
I'll ask you.
and so forth. So me personally, I'd push it off onto the customer, but that's just where I stand. And I know we don't have enough revenue to negotiate with the credit card companies.
Okay, Bruce, where do you stand? Talk closer into the mic because it's hard to hear
I
you.
guess that, people don't like the extra fee. It's a small amount, but still there's some way you get around it. I don't know, something to do with the company itself, you can work it out.
We can always look at it and saying, okay, no,
But you'd be at this point, you'd be
I'd be
in
in
favor
favor
of
for
doing
charging
it.
it off.
You're in favor of doing it. How do you feel, Jesse?
I'm in favor of passing it along to the customer. And additionally, what if you could offer a discount to locals? So they don't,
Locals don't pay it.
yeah. I mean, you're IDing everybody, right? Right.
So I guess, before the council would make a decision on this, I would just like to say, I think we would need to do some more studying on that. And,
We gotta do the
I
budget.
guess my personal opinion is that's what you guys hire me to manage the store. And I think it makes sense to keep it, and I can make a compelling statement and back that up on why we should keep doing it the way we are. But, like I've stated, I am always in negotiations with different companies, and I feel our credit card processing will come down. But once again, on the budget, I don't like surprises, so I put it on there as an increase.
Okay.
But that's my opinion, and obviously you guys are my boss, but I'd like you guys to know how I feel.
So we have 3 in favor of passing the credit card fees on. I can see it both ways. I would never do it in my business, but I own my own businesses and I can choose not to do it. But I was thinking today, I went and got an oil change and I actually was a bit surprised that Mills charged me 3% for using my credit card. I'm thinking, you're charging me 3% for $370 oil change? maybe I won't be coming back here again, right? Like,
So
not that I have a choice.
Expensive oil.
Yeah, it is.
Just,
It is.
You're driving a big rig?
Yeah.
just
So,
just a
I-
question that I have is if you went into 100 liquor stores in the state of Minnesota, how many do you think would be passing that bill on to the consumer?
I don't know the
Got it
answer.
everywhere.
I could
I'm
see,
saying on a
are you talking
liquor
about
store?
municipals or
No,
privately owned?
Doesn't matter if it's a municipal or not. On a liquor store, I think that's information we should know before we make a decision.
I have an idea if I may.
Yeah, I think it's
Perhaps-
more than you think.
Perhaps Brian, I mean, it's the 18th of November. We'll be back in December to make the final.
Mhm.
Perhaps you can get us.
That's
the
not a
entire
problem at
council
all.
Some information in the next 15, 20 days so we can digest it prior and then we can make a council decision at that point. And,
You
But
you might get a hold of Bemidji because I think they went through the same thing.
I'll get a hold of the MMBA and they will have all kinds of numbers for us.
you could do it.
Yeah, and just do it because the
Yeah.
other thing too is if we do it for a time period, see what happens to go, because you just never know.
Sure.
I would, sorry, I was saying to Joe, which I'll just say in public. I think the council either does it or doesn't. We don't need to kick the can down the road. I don't think a study is going to tell us any, it might say, oh, this percent does this percent does that, but then you decide what percent you want to be in. 3 seem in favor of passing the fees on. As I said, I can see it both ways, but I would never do it in my own businesses. But we also didn't really hear from Terry because I'm presuming if the council is directing to pass the credit card fees on at Spirits, they would also we would have to keep a consistent
Are you just
approach.
talking the off sale? Or do you want it in the bar too? Cause I'll tell you what happened at the Legion when they did it at the bar. Right now, they changed their hours. They open at 11 in the morning and they close at 8 o'clock at night. They have nobody going into that store. And then it's all wonky. You order a Windsor Colt for $4 and it comes to $4 and some odd cents. So then the people that want to pay cash, it's $4, but everything else is all wonky. So, I mean, if you're gonna do it, do you want it in the bar or just in the off sale?
Well, I mean, myself, I just went out to eat at, I've been actually watching this very closely in the area. And I just went out to eat at 4 local bar restaurants within 6-7 miles of here, and they're all doing it.
Do you do it?
What's it?
Do you do it?
I am looking at doing it at the first of the year.
I won't be
Yes.
getting my planters from you anymore then. I'm just kidding.
I'm looking at doing it because
I won't.
these fees just keep going up and up. And like I say,
Everybody's doing it.
Okay.
suppliers that come to me, they're doing it to myself, whatever. It's just, this is rapidly changing, even in the last 6 months.
Okay, Bruce just changed his
Yeah.
perspective. He says
Pass
no,
it on to
pass
the
it on.
customer because it's a trend and it just seems like it's going on everywhere right now.
Right.
Okay, so you have
So-
4, that are for it.
Do you want us in blue hair?
I'm against it,
That's
but
a
I'm in the
trend.
minority. Like I said, I can see both sides. I would never do it in my own business. Me personally, when people do it, if I'm spending like hundreds of dollars with them and they want to charge me 3%, I'll go spend my money elsewhere, but I'm just one person. I'm in the minority on this. But what I will advocate for the pickle is I will say, I don't think we should do it in the bar. It should just be the off sale.
Off sale only. But the other thing
Off
too is
sale
I think
only.
Brian, you should look at the numbers, bring them back to us before we make a final decision on that one.
I would agree 100% with that. I think if we make a decision tonight, we're making it without the clear facts out there. And we have no idea. We might be one of 3 liquor stores in the state of Minnesota that are going to do this. I'm not saying that's the case, but I think it's irrational to make a decision without having the facts in front of us and seeing what the trend is out there. I agree. I would love to see us not have $100,000 bill on credit card fees. But in the trend, I'm not arguing anything about the trend. The trend is going that way. But right now, the trend is not liquor stores that are doing it. And I don't necessarily want to be the one that is paving the way for all the other liquor stores, and in the meantime, getting some backlash and losing business because of it.
You can't control what other people do and vice versa.
Right.
And additionally, if everybody agrees, I mean, it's not like we're stacking hands, cut it tonight. We're all in favor of going down that path. If the council agrees, perhaps Brian can give you 2-3 weeks before we reconvene in December to stamp this levy. And we got all the information that you're alluding to, and then.
Because that's all I was asking is to have, the 2 or 3 weeks before you guys say tonight, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, but there has to be, the council does need information then to make a decision in December. It cannot be kicked down the road again because the levy has to be final at that point.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. It wasn't unanimous.
We can
I-
do
I
what
would-
restaurants do and
it
pass the fee on to the
doesn't
server.
matter. Okay,
You didn't know that? A lot of restaurants, when they don't charge you the fee on your credit card, the wait staff pays that fee. Yes, they do. Yes, it is. No. I know that. I'm just saying how many people realize that. That is kind of, so next time you're in a restaurant, ask the wait staff. And then they go, what? And then they go back and check with the manager, come back and say, oh my God, I didn't know that. All right.
just out of
Yes.
curiosity, it's not an official poll. There's 5 people here in the audience. Just what are your thoughts? Raise of hands, pass the credit card fee on. Okay, you don't count as 2, Fred.
Only one
3,
vote.
and then 2 against. Okay, just curious, just as a litmus test from the audience. Well, why don't you bring back information and council will make a final decision.
What would that do to our levy then, Maggie?
We'll do the math on that. It's 120,000.
That's 120,000.
And if 25,000 is 1%, that's almost
Five.
Right.
5% right there.
If you agree to take that $110,000 and put it towards the general levy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a little number when you add it all up.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as it doesn't hurt our sales, because then it doesn't help the levy at all.
I mean, since we're still talking about it, I mean, 75-80% of your sales come from travelers passing through.
Mhm.
I mean, they ain't gonna know the difference. And again, I brought up UID, everybody, you're from Nisswa. You don't have to tell them. Just
We can't do that.
Mayor,
No.
says who? Says who?
You go to a restaurant or whatever and you get your slip, and you're surprised at the end
Local
of the meal.
discount.
It,
You pay
first of all,
taxes in this
first of all,
town,
it has to
you can
be
have it.
posted. And then if we're not charging somebody and we are charging the next person, that's very shady. And that's just my opinion, that's ma and pa operation style.
Goes back to my notion I've been making all along. I mean, we have so many out of towners and God bless them, they're bringing in business and revenue and dollars into this town, don't get me wrong, but who's using the roads? Who's using the city amenities? Who's using this, that, and another thing? I mean, it's the amount that is the wear and tear on all of us, right? And
And I'm guessing, I'm not sure, but if we had to go that direction, then it would be set up on the software system where it would be automatic. I don't think we would have an option as an employee to say, I'm gonna give.
No,
it
it's
to-
all automatic.
I'm gonna, so then,
swipe their credit, swipe their ID every time or scan it and then boom. I'm just throwing ideas out, right?
yeah, that's,
Well, let's
we'll come back on December.
come back in December and we'll continue the discussion. Thanks, Brian.
Welcome.
Okay, Parks is next. The only note I had from this last time we talked was related to the capital reserve. 61,000 being put aside from the parks. I think we have a couple $100,000 in it. At a minimum, I would say maybe we look at decreasing the 61,000 in the reserve, maybe to 30 or 40. So we're still putting some money in for parks, but we're not,
How much
We're
we
not-
have? How much is in, how much is actually in the?
I thought it was
capital
like
reserve
270.
funds? Say that again.
Yeah.
What are you typically burning through a year out of that?
Well, we have millions of projects coming down the pipeline.
Right, I'm just curious, like,
Sorry, Amber.
There's currently 208,000 in the capital reserve right now. That's taken us 4 years to achieve that amount with the initial transfer of $100,000 from the unreserved. So the mentality thus far has been a steady on the gas. We have millions of dollars coming down the pipeline in repairs and replacements. And so that's why I've prioritized keeping that money in there. If you guys remember back to April, in all three of my scenarios, I did not touch the capital reserve. I believe strongly that if we keep it steady, we reduce the whiplash for the community. And so that's why it's been in there. My budget outside of staffing increased by about $4,000. So I shifted a lot of money around, not necessarily the increase to the capital reserve is extra money, but I moved a lot of money around. So outside of staffing, the entire parks budget went up by $4,000.
I still stand where I am and we look at making a decrease to the reserve for parks. And I think we're also going to get to it in the regular council meeting that we have a new energized group that has formed that is committed and dedicated to raising hundreds of thousands, if not millions or more dollars for the parks. It's a great group of people. They've met multiple times already since the local option sales tax meeting over at the community center. And they are off to the races, and some more of that will be shared in the regular council meeting. So, but if others disagree, so be it. That's where I'm at. I'd like to see us bring it down a little bit. My original thing said, take a year off. I'm not saying that anymore. I'm saying maybe go to 30 or 40. So bring it down half or like 40%. I know Councilmember Fraley is probably not with me on it, so I'll start with Councilmember Hall. Where do you stand?
The other thing too is was talking about taking some of that capital reserve and looking at some lights and stuff like that. I'll let somebody else set a number on that one, because I'd
So
let,
here's my only thought on it. You know, there's still no plan of action put together for the park, right? We've got this picture, we got this design, but there's no plan.
Talk more
the,
into your,
the,
Yeah.
Joe.
So there's no plan
the-
right now for the park
Okay, just a
to
second.
move forward.
The committee's been working on a plan, because we already know we voted to phase it out. They're looking at phasing out phase one into different phases. I think Amber might touch on that later tonight. And then in December, I know that they'll be coming back with more, the final decision in December, because, but go ahead.
Sure. So there's no plan to get this thing actually rolling as of tonight. We have the picture, we got the concept, we got this huge number. So without a plan though, the park needs are still the park needs. I mean, we are gonna have to maintain and take care of what we have. And I'll say, you know, kind of put the Band-Aid on stuff until we actually kick off and get this plan going, the group going. So to have some money in reserves, I don't think is the worst thing right now, because we do still have to maintain at least what we have, or temporary fix, whatever, to get us by until we can actually kick off a plan. Now, as soon as there is actually a plan in place, which I don't know the timeline on that, maybe you do, Mark, but, you know, once there's a timeline in place, then I think that this goes away. But
I'm in favor
I agree.
of your point of maintaining what is proposed.
But what about if we're gonna, so if you guys are, majority of you feel keep putting in the reserves, what about at least leaving it flat to what we had last year?
that's fine.
Putting in
Yeah,
50
keeping it
instead
at
of
50,000
61.
instead of going.
Yeah,
up
and
by
the
the-
same on the
Yeah.
community center. Instead of putting in 24, let's put in 21. So we're putting in, but. Well, actually, let's talk with the parks first. So is everyone fine with leaving it at 50?
Yes.
Bruce,
I'm
Joe?
in favor of leaving it at the proposed 61,000.
Okay, I'm suggesting to bring it back to last year's amount, 50. I originally said cut it all together, then I found a concession middle ground. How do you guys feel? We have over 200,000 sitting in that account, and we have a group that is moving in terms of a fundraising effort, led by some folks here in this room.
And to which I know nothing about and looking forward to learning more about. But I'm looking at what's in the hand right now.
Okay, so where do you all stand? You've heard where I stand. Joe, I wasn't clear. Are you at 50 or are you at 61?
I don't know that it matters that much.
It does, because a $25,000 decrease is 1% less to the levy, to the people on their property tax levy.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, does anybody have any idea where we are currently at with all the cuts we've already made tonight? As far as percentages?
I did not add this.
And money cuts,
Yeah,
around 65,000.
It's 2%, call it,
Without the liquor,
without the liquor.
without the spirit.
Not counting the spirits.
Not there.
The attorney fees, you're dropping off 10 grand on that one right there. What did I have under MC? That's $750. Planning and zoning, taking 2,500 off of that one. Plus another 5,900 for planning and zoning. You're looking at police taking off well, I don't think the flocks wasn't on.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
A quick estimate is about 70,000. Because we're taking out that big 40,000 from unallocated to zero, so.
so you're at about 67,000, yeah, so roughly 70,000, so you can say right there, what would that be, 2.8 points.
3.5. Let's say.
Okay, so you guys want it sounds like you guys all want to stay at 61. I'm just trying to watch the time. We have 10 minutes and we still have a couple more pages to get through. So,
yeah, I was just doing some math on it.
yeah, I shared where I was at. It sounds like you guys might be in a different place.
Can we come back to it? Let's look at the other slide.
Okay, well, the community center one, the only thing I had there too is Amber had in 24,000 set aside in reserves, and I had said at our last workshop to take a year off on that one, but I'll say the same thing here, just cut it down a little bit.
I'll say
But it's gonna be the same conversation, right?
yeah, year over year, the community center is much closer in percentage to covering our costs than the parks is. Parks has a much larger spread that is not being covered. So if we're gonna look at picking and choosing, I would recommend to you to decrease from the community center versus parks. I am still in contact with Norson and High Tech regarding some of those updates. I don't have those numbers back. But that'd be my recommendation within my world is community center, reduce that more than parks.
This might be way off, mark on that one, but I know that, the repairs to the community center due to the leakage, we got a rough estimate cost on that.
Not yet. That one may in part be tied with the road bond, kind of dealing with those issues when we deal with the parking lot.
What's the total dollar amount in reserves right now for the bill?
That has 150,000. Which is not much,
And
but
Move it to its
can get us our immediate need.
Yes.
What's that?
Remove it to its entirety.
Get rid of
If
the
you're
whole
giving,
24.
are you saying that you are feeling comfortable that it's,
I am saying if I'm picking and choosing, I pick from the community center
And
to
not the
reduce
parks.
versus parks.
okay,
Because year over year, our community center budget is much closer to what we're trying to put away versus parks is a larger gap.
So then get rid of the whole 24.
Get rid of the whole 24 this year.
And I am hopeful that I'll have information back from High Tech and Norson for some of the repairs to update that scope of work for the inside in December as well, so.
Mark, how do you feel about it?
We can take it off.
Okay. I think Maggie, you have more than three, or three at least.
So I'm taking 24,000.
24,000 from the reserves from the community center to zero.
And we're gonna leave park at 61,000.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay, I have two in favor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
fire,
Again. I moved that page.
it should be on the back side.
I have,
I have
no
nothing.
questions on it.
I didn't have anything on that page.
Mm-mm.
Anybody else?
So,
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, nothing.
I didn't have anything.
Okay. There,
Okay,
We don't have anything.
the front page that you had,
yes,
that's the last thing I had.
there was no fire on the back of your
There was.
community center, but you have no changes.
Oh.
No changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay.
Everybody
I
said-
was confused.
No, sorry, everybody's saying no changes, no changes. Just,
Blank.
Okay. Then let me go to. Not this one.
Any other bells and whistles?
Paid.
Okay.
Looking at my next door bills.
This one, we probably just have a few items left here on this. I know I'm.
Paid family leave. Joe, you had a perspective on that last time.
Doesn't PDF, whatever.
well, we have the ability to pay it all or just our percentage.
Yes.
And I would say that we just do our percentage, but also too, I think that's gonna be in
Our
the,
discussion
our
tonight.
discussion
Yep.
of the contracts,
So this one, I think we have to come back to.
right?
Okay. I
We
tried-
talked about, well, union contracts that we're doing tonight, organization, building code training, we already discussed that, correct? Under P and Z
Yes.
and AICP training, flat camera system, we discussed, newsletter, we discussed.
Yep.
Computer technology, server, we discussed.
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate, because I know the last budget meeting we had, I was just throwing numbers, so this is kind of a better estimate of where we're gonna be sitting, and then at the very bottom here, I just detailed all of the things that are included in that 54,000. Are obviously our servers for PD and City Hall are quite expensive, so that's where the majority of that comes from. And then the only other thing is wages for myself. So I kind of put a very quick spreadsheet together just to show you. As a finance specialist, my estimated wages would be 3548. Our consultant stated that I would, with the new title and duties, I would be at a grade 12. And so here are the steps above what I'd be making there. So I don't know that a motion needs to be made. I budgeted step 10 just to make sure we had money in the budget for that. Knowing that, I mean, you guys can make this, you can't really make a motion in our workshop, but knowing that this is coming down the pipeline.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks.
And then I have one more thing quick, because I just wanted to, I was able to get it's a really bad scam, but I was able to get a citizen of Nisswa's property taxes, their proposed statement. If you look at their valuations, I'm gonna try and zoom in here a little bit. Their valuations didn't change a whole lot over year after year. And just coming down to Nisswa's taxes, their taxes at the 6.07 actually went down. So they were last 25 is at 637. And the proposed at 2026 with our preliminary at the 6% was 599. So just, it's one piece of it, but I wanted to just throw it out there.
They were the fortunate one.
Well, let's bring it.
Mine
lower.
went up.
Okay.
So, All right, a motion, unless there's anything else, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Why don't we take a few minutes before we gavel in for our